Port, I think, a big chance today, Pete. Kev, they're really impressive last week against Collingwood. Their work rate was very good. They're always going to be hard at the footy and direct, and they play that well. And I think today, looking at Wayne Campbell, their KB playing his 150th. Dual best and fairest player, been outstanding for the club.
Yes, and played his first game when I was coach of the Tigers against Fitzroy back in 1991. So congratulations to Wayne Campbell. 150 games today. Scotty Turner's been an important player. A lot of knee problems over the last couple of years, and adds a little bit of strength to the Tigers side. Jason Tawney's had a terrific season for the Tigers. He's been one of their most improved players. Nick Daffy has been their best kick winner this year, along with Matthew Rogers, who's been a real surprise packer for the Tigers. Matthew Richardson, Joel Bowden, so important up forward, and Robbie Powell adds that pace around goals, and Matthew Knights is the spirit of the Tigers. Benny Gale, a big job in the ruck today with no primers playing, and we see there Poole Bullis from Live and Kicking Band. He's been named to start on the interchange bench. But the Tigers line up, it's a pretty strong one. They would have been pretty disappointed last week, that last quarter against the Western Bulldogs. And there's Gavin Wanganeen, so important to Port Power.
Yes, he did some great things last week. One particular smother he effected in that last quarter was just outstanding. And the Port squad missing a few players, but still they've got a pretty strong lineup here. And young Stephen Daniels has stepped into the role at fullback to replace Stephen Paxman while he's injured, and done very well. Nick Stevens has been just great, whether he's been playing on a wing or at halfback as his name there. A real find for them in just 4 games. Shane Brew's going to have to perform a task like he did last week against Buckley. He might pick up Knights today. They'll need him to get plenty of the footy. And I think the fellow at centre half forward, Darryl Poole, needs to get a bit more of the footy and be more effective rather than just having a physical presence. And young Mark Harwood there on debut there on the bench, 21-year-old from the Tassie Mariners. Good luck to the young fellow.
Ben Holland kicked 17 goals already so far this season, and the Tigers' leading goal kicker. And there's a man who's been in the news indirectly this week for taking too much time to have a shot at goal. Kicked 5 last week, and that man is making every post a winner so far too. Young Nick Stevens, all Australian at under 16 level a couple of seasons back now. On the boundary line, Russell Morris. Good afternoon again.
G'day Peter. Look, as you mentioned, compliments to the curator. Sensational conditions. You talk about Nick Stevens. He is a very impressive youngster. 4 games. And it's difficult to understand how other clubs missed him. I think he was about 26 or 27 in the draft. Watch him today, and I'm sure that Richmond will try and man him up with a senior player. He gets the ball beautifully balanced. And Roscoe, it's not true. You're not biased towards the Western Australians. I'll vouch for you. Had to get that one in.
Gets it over to his teammate in Dew, who was actually named on the bench. It starts at forward. Huskis again. Gale. The ball taken over the boundary line down there. Danny Morton, number 13. Michael Gale, number 1. We'll see a throw in right forward pocket for Port Adelaide. This Nash, of course, up against his old side today. Be interesting. Matty Knights having a great season for the Tigers. Kicks towards a contest at halfback. No real contest in the end. Good mark taken by Gasper at left halfback.
Took the mark in front of Kingsley. Goes down towards Benny Gale. He's marked on centre wing. Playing in front of Poole, quick hands, gets it across to Campbell. Game number 150 today, out in front, here comes Richardson. Looks like he might be a bit too big for Daniels, for mine, even early in the game. Richardson with a long bomb, this is a big kick. Goes left, through for a minor score.
Mate, you made a good point there, KB, you made a good point. What do you think of the Tigers' height advantage with Holland and Richardson and Gale? I know that the Port Power are very good runners, but their height advantage, do you think that will get them over the line?
Well, I'm tipping the Tigers today because no Treadray up forward and no Primus, no Wilson. So important players out, 17 injuries to Port Power. Here's Nick Stevens, looks to be a star of the future, goes down inside 50, put his teammate under a lot of pressure. That was Chrissy Nash against his old side, and he's got the free kick.
Yeah, taken high there, good decision by the umpire there. Against Callaway, just dragged him down. Against Scotty Turner, in fact, just dragged him down unnecessarily.
Well, I can remember his first game. I was coaching the Tigers was in 1990. It was against Brisbane at Carrara. So he's come a long way since then. 143 games for the Tigers, converted 212 goals. Kicked 9 goals for Port Adelaide in his short stay. This is going to land right on the line, off target. And again through for a behind.
We've all come a long way since Carrara. The days off. The worst part about going up there, you never wanted to go to the footy.
Christopher Skase used to put on a beautiful lunch.
He did. Said he broke, didn't it? Enough of that. Scotty Turner. He's as mean as they come. Very underrated defender. Benny Gale, just a little bit of a nudge in the back there. Not worried about by the umpire. Out of bounds. About 65 metres from the Port Adelaide goal. And as you can see on screen, delightful conditions, expected top 19, already at 18. Campbell, Knights, they share it around. Rogers from the true centre half-back position, kicks up towards left centre wing. In fact, it's gone a little bit further than that. Evans, no real attempt to get rid of it. Not worried about it, the umpire. Court come away again. Huskers' kick up towards centre wing. Braden Lyle.
Got no one to kick to, Pete. There's no tools leading towards him. Richmond just bottling that area up just outside 50.
So he has to go in short in the end. Lyle from Francou. Huskers again, getting a few kicks. Too tall. Speaking of height, Benny Gale. Had a few problems last week. Came on and off the ground with the blood rule. In fact, about 3 or 4 times, Bowden brushes a tackle. And that's out of bounds. Well done by Danny Morton. Throw it about 35 metres from goal this time. Still in Port Adelaide's right forward pocket.
Pete, Joel Bowden needs a good game. He struggled last week.
Just about due for one, you're right. Let's see if he can do something with that. Couldn't do so. Tawney, ridden into the ground by Morton. And once again a stalemate. The umpire will bounce it. About the same distance from goal, about 35 to 40 metres. And still in Port Adelaide's attacking area. Mark McKenzie, John Harvey, Richard Williams. Our umpires today. Harvey puts it down. A little bit of interference there. Naish. Morton. Tries to bend it back, does so, only as far as Matty Knights.
In the back pocket. Certainly Benny Gale will get back. And it's important, I would think, for Lade and Cummings to make certain he takes no easy marks. Here's Powell. On the burst out of defence, goes short. It's a poor kick. Put his teammate under a lot of pressure. It's all tied up inside the centre square. They pile on top. And they'll ball it up.
Just a quick one too, KB. I think the respect that Richmond have shown with Nick Stevens, only 4 games under his belt. They've got Ashley Prescott tagging him, and Prescott normally reserved for their guns.
Well, he's been averaging well over 20 possessions in his 4 games. So Lockwood, just around the corner, has been marked by Knights, who will feed it off to Bowden. So Knights the playmaker. It'll be interesting, Roscoe, who they actually play on Knights right throughout the course of this game, as Daffy kicks down towards the half-forward line. High flyer was Evans, couldn't take it. Impressive player as well. A couple of goals last week. They're going to ball it up.
Yes, Shane Brewer's got the job at the moment, although he's not playing him as a genuine tagger, but just running with him and following the footy himself a bit. He's matching up with him at the moment.
Well, that might be dangerous because no one finds the football better than Matthew Knights. Campbell actually wins the tap, taken by Francou from half-back. Kicks back towards the wing. There's a push out from Tawney. Not paid to Naish, who looks around with a look of disbelief on his face.
Yeah, it definitely was a push.
Tawney has had a very good season. He's been one of the Tigers' most improved players. The kick's a poor one, and Dickey, playing in front this time, takes the mark in front of Harrison. So from the half-back line, Port Power trying to set it up through Lade, who kicks the ball long. So it's a chance for the high flyer. In fact, it was Lade going for the mark, but Bowden about Lockwood. He's got it, gets the ball out wide to Eagleton, tries to drill the ball, looking for Cummings too far under the ball. Here's a chance for Stevens, who's a goal kicker. This is going to dribble through for a goal. So an impressive young player, Roscoe.
Yes, as Russell said before, Prescott's the job on him, but the pace factor there just very much in favour of Nick Stevens. Just reads the ball so very well. Finished the last half of the game on a half-back flank last week against Collingwood. Just watch the pace here. The kick just carries over the head of Turner and Cummings. And it's just a clever get by Stevens. If it wasn't a goal, he would have got a free kick anyway and had a free shot again.
It's only his 5th game, Nick Stevens, but as we mentioned earlier, star material written all over him. Gets the first goal of this game today. Against the flow probably of play. The Tigers have had plenty of it. Chance for Port to go into attack again. This is Stuart Dew. Made his debut last week. 70 metres out from goal. Kick drops a little bit short to a marking contest. Campbell to Michael Gale. And this is what Richmond is so good at, running the ball out of defence. There he is again, the 150 gamer. Under pressure, the hand pass intended for Knights went a little bit astray. Brewer tackled well by Daffy and turned by Dickey, holding the footy.
He dragged in the last minute, Pete, and was penalised for that.
Rogers An up and under kick. Mead, best and fairest winner at the club. And standing his ground well is Rogers to take the mark at left half back to Richmond. Well, as I said, they've had a lot of the play, but they haven't been able to get past half forward. Huskis, good defence. Powell, Grant, surely. And we'll get the free kick. Robert Powell maybe a little bit too far out to score. Equal best first-year player for Richmond back in 1996 on the lead, and taking a good mark is Richardson.
And stats showing there, Pete, that Port have been inside their 56-1. This is the second time now for Richmond.
And Matty Richardson's figured in both of them, hasn't he?
Yes.
Distance not a problem for this fellow. Angle is tricky. Maybe, maybe not. I think the latter, one behind. Kicked by Matty Richardson, his second. And so the difference comes back to 5 points.
Well, he opened up well last week, Pete. He kicked 3 of his 4 goals in the first quarter, then faded. So that was an opportunity to open up today.
Well, both of his shots have been from the pocket as well. So he might have to lead up the centre of the ground. Here's Eagleton. Carries the ball towards the centre wing, goes short. So they come away. Kingsley kicks down towards the half-forward line. High flyer was Andrew Callaway, who got his hands on the ball, but they'll toss it back in. Scotty Turner just acknowledging the effort. So the Tigers bench there, we can see Chaffey, Broderick also, who this year, and Nathan Bauer. Matthew, of course, poor Broderick last year was one of the stars for the Tigers, but not really in the starting lineup at the moment. Kingsley tucked up into the pocket, kicks to the goal square. Cummings pushing and shoving. Looked like he took it on the second grab, but not paid. And finally taken over the line by Powell. So Scotty Turner, big and strong, will probably match Scotty Cummings in the strength department. This will be a problem. Matthew Knight, he's certainly got to be picked up. Such a damaging player with the ball, very rarely wastes a kick. This time the ball goes over the line in front of Callaway. So Duncan Callaway, number 3, and his brother, Andrew Callaway, playing here today, number 39. They look like twins. Gale to the front of the pack. Dickey trying to crash his way through. Morton, clever tap on, taken away by Campbell, all tied up. They pile on top. Good strong play also by Poole, and they'll ball it up. Between the wing and the half-forward flank for Port.
Brendan Lage dropped down to be a spare man of defence at the moment. Just across the attacking 50 for Richmond.
So knocked on by Tawney. Gale overruns the ball. Morton, who's been in good form, former Fitzroy player, kicks the ball back to the wing. Poole showed a lot of courage running with his back to the play. Loose ball again. Campbell feeds it back off. Rogers, so good this year, looking for Tawney, tried to take a one-hander back to Daffy. He's won the ball more times than any Tiger. Kicks the ball deep inside, 50, backing back. Was laid, dropped his head, but finally took the mark.
Didn't drop the mark, that was the important thing. Onto Huskis. Lyle. Standing start. Bowden, big collision course there. Naish around his old teammate Prescott. And the mark has been dragged in by, it's Bowen Lockwood. And within kicking distance for Port Adelaide's second goal.
Bit of courage there shown by young Nick Stevens to go back with the fly of the ball and copped a heavy knock. Still got a bit of a corky. Of course, the Norwich Rising Star nomination last week.
Nick Stevens kicking the first goal. And Bowen Lockwood a chance for Port Power's second. So a shaky start by the Tigers. Lockwood from 45. The umpire gets underneath what looks to be a behind, and it is. Kicked by Bowen Lockwood, his first score of the day, and takes the difference out to 7 points. 2 behinds to 1-3 in the first quarter at the MCG. Michael Gale, left half back. Holland, strong hands. Knights, winning plenty of the footy in defence. Back to Gale, needs to be quick. When he gets collected by Poole, you wouldn't want that. Gasper, left centre wing, promising build-up by Richmond. Daffy's kick out towards half-forward. Richardson again takes the mark. in front of Stephen Daniels.
There's no question that's where he's most dangerous, Richardson. If he gets on a lead into space, any player on him is not going to match him for speed if they give him a yard. That time Daniels again just getting caught behind.
So Richardson for his first goal. He's kicked 2 behind so far. Roscoe's head opened with 3 goals in the first quarter last week. That's close, maybe not close enough. Hits the behind post and so out of bounds on the full, which is probably a better result. And they could have hoped for. Was drifting right away. So Mead from the right back pocket brings the ball back in for Port. Laid and Gale. Laid from behind. Maybe should have tried to punch. Tawney gets taken to the ground. Stalemate again. A ball up 65 metres from the Tigers' goal at left half forward.
That's one thing we've seen with Tony Lockett throughout his career, Roscoe. He marks the ball close in to goal. Matthew Richardson that time right out on 50, and before also kicking from pretty tight angles. I'd like to see
a bit closer to goal.
Yeah, a lot closer to the goal. Starting the goal square, make your lead so you're not too far out from goals. Here's a chance. Callaway goes wide looking for Daffy. Gets around the tackle from Dickey. Squeezed up on the line. So the ball goes out on the full. (139) Port. The Tigers 2 behinds. So in front. And the big fist away that time from Benny Gale from Lade.
KB, just a question for Ross Glendinning. They've got Joel Bowden on the half-back line, the Tigers, and Gasper in their forward line. They seem to be breaking down across their own half-forward line, Tigers. What sort of moves would you make to try and get more flow into the goal square?
Well, I don't mind Gasper playing centre-half forward, Russell. In fact, because Poole's in the ruck and Lade's a spare man in defence, that allows Gasper to go forward.
Here comes Richardson, this time caught behind, squeezed up. Huskers was in front, taken away by Wanganeen, so the skipper's off and running. It's coming back, and the umpire has blown the whistle, and he's having a word to Lyle, and it looks like the free kick is going to go to Evans.
Yeah, so those two are having a bit of a to-do as the kick-out was made after the Richardson out of bounds on the full, and they were still at it.
So a turnaround there for Port with Wanganeen off, and Evans will be shooting from around about 55 metres directly in front. It'll still take a good kick. Tigers trail by 7 points already. Matthew Knights has had 7 possessions and 3 marks. So he's a danger player for Port from right on 50. Evans, this is a big kick. This is going right to the line. We'll wait for the verdict. It's a goal.
Well, he kicked 3 goals last week, KB, and complimented Richardson down there as a player who can play that subordinate role, whether it be in a pocket or coming up to centre-half forward or even on a flank. And his accurate kicking is certainly a feature of his game. That's a free kick that Port won't be happy with. You just see here, Evans goes in behind Lyle, and Lyle just retaliates and drags him down.
Brent Evans kicking the goal. Dual premiership player with Springvale in what is now the VFL. Played 17 reserves games last year, including the Tigers premiership side. And a beautiful kick for goal. Gasper went without the footy. Evans dragged off it again. No free kick this time. Campbell, the playmaker, intended for Gale. Mead pinches it. A double turnover though. It's still in the Tigers attacking area. Gale again to Campbell. Campbell goes short. Richardson on the lead. Intended to be taken by Wanganeen. Didn't quite get a handle on it. Still Richardson. Gasper trying to keep it in play. Callaway. Powell. Port's tackling superb. Still the ball there to be won. And they can't clear it out of the zone. Gale again. Knights. Huskers. Still Huskers. Too high. Free kick.
Yeah, free kick to Knights taken too high by Huskers.
Gee, that was a great tackle by Wanganeen on Powell, who tried to get around him. And a wonderful smother then by Powell.
Yes, a great effort by Duncan Callaway too to dive in the ball and keep it in the forward line. That's Knights' 8th possession.
Knights going for Gale. Not going for goal. Daffy is opposite number 10. Francou. Lyle to Lade. No one out there really for Port Power except Bowden for Richmond. Bowden on to the left, squares the ball, intended for Gale, should mark it and does, but 60 metres out. So plenty of long shots by Richmond. Richardson's kicked 2 behinds and 1 out of bounds.
His brother's screaming for the ball over here on the half-forward flank.
Yes, no one on him.
Talk about flooding defences. There's all but probably a dozen players inside the forward 50 for Richmond.
Gee, it is crowded. Now finally goes short. Intended for Harrison. Couldn't complete it. Prescott had the job on Stevens earlier. May still have. Rogers out to Evans. Twist, turns. Daffy sees Campbell. And good strong mark in front of Mead.
That's a good mark. That's the mark that Ben Harrison should have taken about 20 seconds ago on the lead. Just an important kick here for Wayne Campbell, just to settle it down. Let's put it through for a goal.
Dual best and fairest winner for Richmond in 95 and 97. And the Tigers with just the 1 goal on the board, kicked by Evans, that long bomb. So kick number 4 for Wayne Campbell today. 45 metres out. And he's missed, judging by lack of crowd reaction. Might not even be a behind. Right on the goal umpire, 1 behind. Kicked by Wayne Campbell, so the Tigers missing opportunity, scores level.
So you can see Chalmers there and Brent Heaver and Paul Evans also sitting on the interchange bench for Port. So Wayne Campbell playing game number 150 today. Made his debut back in 1991 against Fitzroy at Optus Oval. He's come a long way since then. All-Australian, Victorian representative, and twice the best and fairest winner. But some great tackling by Port, putting the Tigers under a lot of pressure. Rogers from the half-back line, kicks down towards the half-forward line. Standing his ground was Powell. He's quick, can't quite get to his feet. Bowden shovel the ball out to Gale, back to Powell. Kicks the ball again. Richardson on a long lead in front. Daniels got a fist to the ball. Just 35 metres out from goals. Kingsley, ever reliable. Ball comes back to Eustace. Rockets the ball wide. Looking for Lyle under pressure. Just tumbles the ball forward. Andrew Callaway running with the flight of the ball. And once again, Rogers having a terrific season. The kick, again a poor one, been marked by Lyle. So scores are level. We've got just 4.5 minutes left in this first term.
Very stagnant here across half forward. Darryl Poole just calling for the ball long.
So he kicks down Poole in front. Big fist away by Holland at ground level. Chance now for Brewer, could set it up. Elected not to give it to Naish, goes short. Looking for Cummings out in front. Naish has got it. Got rid of the ball, back to Brewer. Quick hands back to Cummings. Quick snap around the corner. He's bending this back. I think he's kicked it. He's missed. Ever so close. It was bending back. Just to behind. Jeff Geeshan on the phone. But Port in front by a point.
Goals at a premium in the first quarter. Over the head of Morton, Gale, Dickey, now Morton. There's a whistle.
It's going to Michael Gale.
In the left back pocket. He'll go a little bit shorter to Andrew Callaway, marking in front of Brewer. KB set the clock ticking down to quarter time inside the last 4 minutes now. Turner's kick towards centre wing. Holland, safe hands. Around Poole, onto Daffy. Thought about Knights. Onto the right. And again, Richardson marks. Again, this is the furthest out he's been. About 65 metres. Looks for Callaway, who gets taken out of that contest by Dew. Free kick.
By Richard Williams right on the spot there. Richardson's a little bit slow to see the opportunity inside there with Matthew Knights as well. And definitely a free kick there. Braden Lyle just stumbling at the last minute.
Well, Duncan Callaway having a shot at goal. That's somewhat of a rarity.
He's only kicked 1 goal in 108 games.
Bring the house down if he kicks it. Don't think he has. Punch away by Lade. Lyle. Powell had him, and that'll be rushed through for 1 behind. Rush behind to the Tigers, close to quarter time. Just over 3 minutes remaining. 1-4 apiece. Stuart Dew, All Australian honours in 96. Kicks out long to the outer side.
Now Matthew Knights has had a lot of the ball for the Tigers in this opening quarter, taken away by Rogers, also a winner across half back, tumbles it forward. Evans didn't quite get a kind bounce, recovers well, kicks to the front of the square. Here comes Gaspar, big fist to the ball at ground level, Dickey. Now he's weighing up his options. He's got Francou wide, didn't quite hit him. Francou recovers well, rockets the ball wide, looking for Brewer, takes it on the half volley, couldn't quite take it. Francou does well, backed up, gets the ball back. Mead from half back, just pumps the ball back towards the half forward line. It's a chance for Lockwood. Here's the tackler. Andrew Kellaway goes to ground. Holland also beaten. Poole, clever play, pops it out in front. Naish feeds the ball off. Morton runs into the open goal. Great play, Port. Terrific play there by Naish to get it across to Danny Morton.
It was, and they looked as if they're going to be in trouble too, KB, trying to get that ball forward through the middle of the ground. A couple of handballs not quite in their targets, but Brewer managed to mop up from the middle. And good play here by Poole just to follow up. Good tackle by Lockwood. And the handball by Poole just into the run of Naish, who's able to get the ball quickly across to Danny Morton. Well done.
23rd career goal in 40 matches from Danny Morton, formerly of Fitzroy. And as KB said earlier, enjoying some pretty good form at the moment, increasing Port's lead to 6 points, or putting them 6 points in front. Close to the end of the first quarter. Laid down to Francou. Lockwood missed it. Chance for Naish again. Keen to do well against his old club. Cummings. Scotty Turner. Campbell at right half back. Kicks to centre wing. Harrison calling for it as Daffy sees him. Nick Daffy at the centre circle. Kicks inside 50. Richardson gets the front position. Poole. Richardson again from Gaspar. Good block by Stevens. Well done, the rookie. Harrison and Mead. And the ball over the boundary line, just outside the 50-metre arc.
Not good awareness there, Pete, by Matthew Richardson, not realising that he's going to be under pressure, just too slow to get rid of the footy.
So boundary throw in. Laid. Benny Gale. Mead and Gaspar. Poole. Campbell. Harrison. Harrison's kick high. Richardson in the pocket. Marks. Plays on. Long handball. Poole. Dickey couldn't complete the mark. I want to tie it up here. Gale off the ground, hits the post.
Desperate stuff there by the Port players too, trying to force that ball through for a point. And Gale, the opportunist, just about got it through, Pete. Just the base of the post.
5 points the difference. Let's look at it again. Good effort.
So Dew gets it across to Brewer, finds Lyle from half back, kicks down towards the half forward line. On a long lead is Cummings. He's got it. He's a good 75 metres out from goal. Kicks wide. Eagleton has run very hard. Great play by Nathan Eagleton. And a terrific kick by Scotty Cummings.
He's had to have the right amount of carry on it, KB. He didn't run to allow Eagleton to run onto it. And he's a player along with Kingsley in the middle of the ground. They need to get a bit of the footy.
Well, he's kicked 14 goals, 9 for the season.
Good play by Cummings. Far too far out to have a shot at goal, so just set that up.
He's one of the young guns. So this to put Port Power 11 points in front, but it's a shocking kick off the boot. It's out on the full.
Would have been a handy goal, wouldn't it?
Well, we're down to the last 30 seconds. Holland just pumps the ball wide. Gale will be the high flyer and a good grab. So Benny Gale from the half back. Such an important player these days for the Tigers in the ruck. Big thump away. Morton just didn't quite have clean hands. Francou does. Feeds the ball off to Wanganeen. This is a very important kick. Wanganeen goes long now. There's a kick downfield. In fact, the ball hasn't bounced through, but this is a very important play. It will be a very important goal. Just 5 seconds left in the quarter.
Gavin Wanganeen very clever to see the opportunity there once he kicked the ball to get a nudge from behind and just make sure the umpire saw this. Just a touch and he went to ground.
He's good at doing that, isn't he?
He's very good at doing that.
And Darryl Poole kicks a goal. As the siren sounds, Port will go in at the first change, 11 points up.
All right, let's go down to the boundary line now, and Russell Morris.
Yes, Peter, look, I think the Richmond Football Club would be pretty unhappy with that quarter. Breaking down across their half-forward line, Then they had players like such as Poole and Daffy, too probably far up the ground, up around the centre. But also very, very crowded, with a lot of discussion in the media this week about how the club's backlines are being flooded by their forwards. And I think if to get away from that, I suppose you've got to start changing direction, shift the ball around the ground and kick it into open space and right into the forward line.
Yes, they need something a little bit different. Just the one goal in the first quarter. Knights to Duncan Callaway. Both Callaways out there today. Andrew wearing number 39. Campbell tries to get it and succeeds in getting it back to Poole. Up and under. They come from all directions, and Richardson again. Now this is the closest in he has taken the mark so far today.
Yeah, he's got to kick this goal too, Pete. It's a situation tailor-made for a full forward. No question he's in distance. He's done all the hard work to get the foot in the first place. Terrific mark on the chest at that height.
The last thing you want is for Daniels to be going against Matthew Richardson 1 out.
2 behinds and 1 out of bounds on the full so far from Richo. From 40 metres out, pretty well directly in front. He's kicked Richmond second and his first. And that is just the start that Jeff Geeshan would have ordered to start the second quarter inside the first minute. The Tigers get their second, reducing the deficit to 5 points.
Not only just for the side's sake here, as we see Wayne Campbell getting that handball back. Good talking there between teammates. And the high kick coming in, just allowing Richardson to run and jump at that. Daniels having trouble keeping up with him at that height. He just needed that for his own confidence to convert from that range.
Matthew Richardson has now kicked 12 goals for the season. So a good start for the Tigers in this second quarter. Daffy, again, is taken away by Knights, quick hands. Back to Daffy. There have been 2 big ball winners so far in the game. There's a beautiful kick. Richardson, again, a long way out from goals, goes to ground. Huskis feeds the ball off. Daniels kicks the ball back to the wing where Prescott, backing back, will take an easy mark. He's got the job playing on young Stevens. He's been such a good player in just the 4 senior games before today. There's Knights once more, the playmaker, sets it up to Bowden, gives it across to Andrew Callaway, rockets the ball wide. Rogers should have been run down by Poole, good enough to get his kick away, and there's Lyle taking the relieving mark. Now the scoreboard here at the MCG is worth $3 billion. It's an absolute disgrace. They've got the scores of the game at the very top of the scoreboard, and they've got scores from other games and also the race results more prominent than the actual score of this particular game in progress.
Yeah, that's a crazy situation, isn't it, I must admit.
So there's a ball up inside 50 for the Tigers, and they trail by 5 points.
Unless you've got binoculars, KB, you can't read the score. So ball up. About 40 metres out from goal. Lade wins it. Bowden takes on Morton. Back to Bowden on his left. He'll like that. Into the goal square. Chance for Evans, nearly. And that'll be a rush behind. Looked like a try. In fact, it's still in play. Now it's out of bounds. A throw in right next to the behind post. In fact, he did hit the behind post, so it's out of bounds, but not on the floor. Richardson with Lade, who taps to the front. Dew, he's going to rush this one through from behind. So one rush behind to the Tigers, who trailed at quarter time by 11 points, but Richardson's goal has put them back 2 within a kick. The margin now 4 points. Dew kicks in, a Dew kicker. Brewer, but not today. Ground in magnificent condition. You get a hurry on from the umpire, I think, soon. Certainly the crowd giving him plenty of stick. Huskis gives it away. He'll get it back again from Daniels. Well, they might find themselves coming unstuck. Finally, Daniels kicks up towards centre wing. No, it was Dickey had it from Eagleton. Dickey's kick, a mongrel punt off the boot up towards full forward. The mark is there. Cummings takes it 25 metres out from goal on a slight angle.
It was a bit like watching Fremantle in that back half there, Pete, just going back and sideways, but they just wanted to make sure they got someone free every time they looked up. There was no one free to kick to, so they kept going to the player behind them, and it ended up working out okay.
Nearly came unstuck. So Cummings getting plenty of advice from the crowd. Kicked it behind already today, Scotty Cummings, after 5 last week. coming around, I don't think far enough. One behind, so his second behind of the day. 5 points the margin now, 3-5 to 2-6. 16 minutes remaining in the half.
Mark Chappie just replacing Ben Harrison for the Tigers on the bench.
Scotty Turner to bring the ball back into play. Port Power by 5 points. Scotty Cummings with 2 behinds from 2 set shots. Turner goes short, finds Callaway. Duncan back to Turner. He's trying to set up the loose player. Got it across to Andrew Callaway, so the Tigers move the ball up towards the half-back line. All tied up. Holland tries to tap the ball on. Wanganeen, the tackler, hard up on the boundary line. The Tigers do well to keep the ball alive. Turner feigned the hand pass. Back to Callaway. Just shrugged the shoulders, got out of the tackle. Campbell rockets the ball wide to Knights, the danger man. Will try and set it up. Kicks a high ball back towards centre half forward. Gale thought he was interfered with. Prescott rockets the ball wide to Daffy. To full forward, coming across, strong play for Port Adelaide. That was Mead, and forces the ball through for a behind.
Yeah, 2 important concepts there, Mead, that one on that situation there, and just before Braden Lyle coming back just to upset the flight there of Brendan Gale.
So Dew kicks wide and finds Lyle. Now the loose player has been set up. Bowen Lockwood's there as well. He gives it across to Eagleton. He gets the go-ahead from Lockwood. He carries the ball to centre wing, then drills it towards Poole. Too much carry on the ball. It's got Holland to beat. The ball beat both over the line.
KB, they do carry the ball very, very well, Port Adelaide. I think John Carl will be very, very impressed with the way they perform. You know, it always is difficult for interstate sides coming over to Melbourne to play, so they must be pleased at this stage.
So Poole pushing and shoving, takes the front position. Daffy, short kick. Francou, it's got Rogers to beat. Stevens got a push in the back twice. Showed terrific courage in that first quarter, running with the flight of the ball.
Certainly did.
Tells us a lot about the player. We know he's a brilliant player, but he's got a ton of courage as well. Not quite certain if he's even recovered from that heavy knock. The ball wide to Huskus on the edge of the centre square. Cummings is the target. He's got it. Not always sure on the hands, Roscoe.
No. Well, Richardson in that way in some respects, but good spotting by Brewer just to square the ball to the other side, just to open up the goals a bit, and gave Cummings a chance to run into that space.
Turner and Gale hurt in that collision as well too. That's Michael Gale.
Well, he's kicked 18 goals, 8 coming to this game. He's kicked 2 behinds today. So Scotty Cummings. Important kick for Port. They led by 11 points at quarter time. Just to get it back to 10-point margin. And again, he's off target.
3 behinds by Scotty Cummings. Ricky Richardson's also kicked 3. Not a day for full forward so far. 2-7 to 3-6. Turner kicks it to himself, confronted by Cummings, goes long and wide, intended for Campbell. That's a mark, isn't it, to Dickey, not paid. Wanganeen, hard at the footy. Morton beats both of them. Dickey again, tries to find a teammate. Good tackle by Knights. Morton takes the ball out of bounds. That was Nash there against his old side.
Well, they're best of friends. Both were best man at their weddings, respective weddings. Lived together when Nash was in Melbourne playing with the Tigers.
Poole, good block by Duncan Callaway. It's a foot race. Eagleton taken down in the tackle. Ball jarred free. Lockwood had it. Now Bowden. Bowden's kick along the ground. Taking it as Holland. Clear of Poole. Shepherd by Michael Gale. The 2 long hairs. Onto Knights. Busy. Powell says go, and he does. Centering kick by the skipper. Finds Benny Gale at midfield. Right at the circle. Daffy giving him plenty of advice. Long bomb by Gale. Oh, that's a pinched mark. Richardson almost cannoned into the back of his opponent. Had to stop, but finished up with the footy in his hands. Well done.
It's his 7th mark too, Pete. And just Daniels did the right thing there. Got the front position, but the height of Richardson just tells in the end. Watch this. We can see, we can't quite see Daniels just pushing back. Got the front position, and Richardson just able to snatch it from behind.
Directly in front Richardson, 40 metres out. That's a better kick, that's a goal. So 2 goals 3. Kick by Matty Richardson, and the difference back to a point at the MCG.
Yes, and Port just paying the penalty for not being efficient enough in the Air 50 attacking zone. They've had the ball in there often enough in this quarter to get more of a score on the board, but inside here, the vision again of Matty Knight's important to get it on to Gale. He was going to go short, but then realised the long lead was on by Richardson. And a good conversion from the full forward.
Very dangerous player, Matthew Richardson. As Roscoe told us before, already 7 marks. Might have to come up with some sort of plan to get someone back to help young Daniels.
Free kick now up to the centre bounce there, KB. Holland just interfering with Poole. Confusion now from the umpire saying it's got to be paid from the centre square, even though the free kick was down on the edge of the square. It's got to come back into the middle.
Well, Kingsley was under all sorts of pressure then. I'm not quite certain whether the players understood what was going on. Gale in front of Dickey to centre half forward, and that's better with Lade getting back. I think he's got to get back and get in front of Richardson.
Plays that role pretty well, Kev.
Kicks the ball wide. Kingsley has come from the other side of the ground, so some hard running. He's had a very good season. Good tackle by Bowden. So it's a tumble kick inside 50. Cross half back, Andrew Callaway feeds the ball off. Toyney pumps the ball back towards the half forward line, and here's Chaffee on the ground. Started on the interchange bench. This season America playing baseball, kicks the ball down. Richardson this time caught under the ball. Dickey recovers well, rockets the ball wide, finds Eustace, feeds the ball back to Wanganeen, puts it out in front, and there's Callaway. Terrific grab, not paid. Lockwood won't get around Callaway. Best tackler at Tigerland. Powell. Plenty of time. Again, back to Callaway. Feeds it back to Powell. Gives it across to Gale. They've got the runners. Knight's out wide. Some fancy footwork. Then pumps the ball inside 50. Getting back there is Donald Dickey and takes a good mark.
Yeah, fantastic second effort there by Andrew Callaway, wasn't it? Lade to centre wing. Tawney. Francou confronted, out of bounds, looks for the free, none there, throw it in, says the umpire.
And that kick coming to Francou, Pete, just not enough. No, I don't think he's going to get the free kick. It's going to be a ball in.
You're right.
Just not enough power on the trajectory there to get there quickly enough for him.
Gale looks for and finds just inside the boundary line, 150 gamer. Campbell stops just to get around a couple of opponents. Again, Lade in front, this time in front of Richardson to take the mark.
That's his job today.
He did it well last week. Kev had 21 possessions, took 12 marks. A lot of in that uncontested area across half-back.
Due down to Poole.
That was a great kick.
In front of Holland. It was like a 45-metre pass, wasn't it?
That's what they need more of from Darryl Poole, too. That sort of lead and mark.
Long way from goal, 2 kicks from there. Cummings, well, that's in the back, isn't it? Gee. Not according to the umpire. I can tell you that's out of bounds.
He was lucky not to be pinged then, because if you go to ground and don't knock the ball out all in the one action, then you are caught. As the Richmond player there, we can see appealing for the free kick, which is Scotty Turner. That's a free kick.
Knights. Back to Holland. Confronted by Morton. Will he give it to Michael Gale? No, he won't. He goes a little bit further. Callaway loses out to his opposite number 3 in Brewer. Now Brewer gets it. Dickey, short of half forward, intended for Morton, but a bad kick out of bounds. And Danny Morton had no chance of picking that up. He's very disappointed.
Just some untidy foot skills here by Port, just missing their targets.
But also, Roscoe, there's untidy handball skills from Richmond. It just seems that when they get it, they have to handball it. Why don't they kick it long? And the conditions are sensational
They
down
are
here.
sensational, aren't they?
Kick it long.
Dickey from Francou. And Andrew Callaway nearly. Turner mops up well for Richmond. Not the greatest of kicks off the boot, but the desired result could be okay for Richmond because it's out of bounds right on 50 on the members' stand side in front of Ashley Prescott. The Tigers by a point at the MCG, 25-24. But you wouldn't know by looking at the MCG scoreboard because it's very hard to read, as Kev said.
Knights doing the ruck work for the Tigers. Naish at ground level. Try to just shovel it out. It's kicked by Lockwood. Gee, nearly marked by Cummings and forced over the line.
Clever kick by Lockwood to seize the opportunity there. Just keep the ball in play, keep it alive.
And young Nick Stevens, just playing his 5th game, is having a torrid time with Prescott tagging him. Here's a chance, should be a goal. Kick by Francou.
Well, the real opportunist is Josh Francou. The kick coming forward from Eagleton in the first place on his right foot was just touched. So he had to kick that ball through himself, Francou, and did it pretty well.
You've got a feel for a youngster like Nick Stevens. He's come into the game, he's played so well, had the ball over 20 times per game.
Just his 5th game he's been tagged.
And now being tagged.
Yep.
Welcome to the big time.
A clever play there by Josh Francou.
Port Adelaide by 5 points over Richmond. Francou kicking the goal. Just past the halfway mark of the 2nd quarter. The ruckman able to get an effective tap out. Hacked out of the pack up towards half forward for Port Power. Good tackle by Naish. Chaffee, former Caulfield grammarian. Brewer onto the left. One-on-one contest in front of goal. Was that too high on Cummings? The umpire says no, let it go. Prescott, he'll be content to see the ball over the line. The photographers scatter. Now the umpire races in here. What's he going to do?
Just telling the players to settle down.
Speaking to Ashley Prescott, it's a boundary throw in, right on 50.
Good pressure here by Port, just keeping Richmond under pressure all the time.
Oh, real scramble there to about 4 or 5 players. Finally comes out nearly to Francou, just as the umpire blows the whistle. He'll ball it up, right on the 50-metre line. Players scatter again. All Power bench looking on, not too far from the action there at the moment. Knocked down by Gasper. Morton couldn't take it. Powell shuffles it forward. Prescott and Stevens. Daffy off the ground. Campbell's there to give him assistance. Daffy off a step. Kicks up towards centre wing. Trying to mark it one-handed was Gale. Now gets it back to Rogers, who's been busy. Centering kick down in Richardson territory. Richardson up in front. Good punch away by the Port defence. Daffy fumbles. Doesn't often do that. Eagleton gives away the hand pass. And Port get clear. Huskus' kick, that's hard to say. Gasper. Up towards Gale. Gale at right centre wing, trying to set something up for Richmond. Can they do it? Yes, they can. Chaffee from Campbell.
And pumps the ball inside 50. Dickey should take the mark and does. So wayward kick by Chaffee. Now the loose player's been set up. So big chance for Port on the rebound. Naisha's got it. Oh, thought he might have been caught high. Knight's brilliant. From the point of the square, kicks the ball back. So on the rebound, the Tigers have got it through Richardson. He's a good 80 metres out from goal. He'll go short. Evans is on a lead. Couldn't take it on the half volley. So again, Dickey gives the ball back. Jew, that magnificent left boot, kicks deep down to the edge of the square. What a magnificent kick is Stewie Jew.
It's twice he's done that, Kev.
Francou has got it. It's on the half forward line. Port by 5 points. Cummings on the lead. It's been honoured, so Cummings versus Turner. Turner just went the punt from behind, could have taken the mark. Prescott caught. Powell does the roving, pounced on it, gives it across to Daffy. So again, the Tigers from half back. Daffy's had a big season. Wanganeen running with the flight of the ball, the bounce. A tricky one, nearly favoured Evans. Well supported and taken over the line that time by Jew.
KB, where they're falling down, the Tigers have got Port Adelaide, have got Brendan Lay dropping in the gap, and they keep kicking it straight into that open gap, looking for that Richardson lead straight to the Port player. So really they've got to try and chip it a little bit short and then kick it over Lade's head and maybe look for a Richardson lead into the pocket.
It's good effort by Evans to keep the ball in Richmond zone. Campbell to Powell. Powell off the left, Richardson on the lead and marks. Getting plenty of the footy, Matty Richardson. 2 goals, 3 so far.
It makes such a difference too when your foot skills are better. They've missed their target so many times today. Richmond more so than Port. Port haven't been that much better. For a day like this, you should be able to hit targets more often than not.
Now Richardson will get the distance from there. 100% concentration. Kicks from 45. Well, he's kicked it like a bag of wheat. And one behind.
Well, you could see the way the ball fell out of his hand then, Roscoe.
Yep, there's just no control whatsoever, and Pete's very apt description there.
Just didn't guide the ball down at all, and you can see pretty disappointed Matthew Richardson.
Well, we're going to see this kicking skills that you spoke of Stuart Dew. It's a good build of a footballer. Not quite the Lee Matthews legs, but they're getting there. In the back pocket, Huskus. Daffy stands the mark. Dew breaks for him. And hotly pursued by Turner. Huskus a little bit undecided. Eventually goes long, laid the target. Gale will punch from behind, does that. The two number 9s clash. Now it's Bowden, Campbell, one of them. Lyle, of course, the other. Courage from Wanganeen. Measured it, took it in front of Callaway, and they run it out again through Huskus.
They break wide, looking for young Stevens. He's got in front of Prescott. Port by 4 points, 30 plays 26. Lyle loose inside the centre square, quick hands. Back to Huskus, who just pumps the ball deep in the forward line. Here comes Cummings out in front. Couldn't take it on the second grab. All tied up was Callaway, who was held. The free kick will go to Andrew Callaway. So Scotty Cummings just muttering a few words to himself. Tawney, loose, the kick's a shocker. Puts him under pressure. Francou, ball looked like it may have even been out. Campbell, this time puts it over the line, they'll toss it back in.
No excuse for these foot skills, Kevin. People who are almost full-time these days, they're kicking the ball so often. Can't believe they're so poor.
Are the skills overrated, Roscoe?
Today, oh my word, they are.
Caught by 4 points. Daffy winning a lot of the ball to centre half forward, and playing in front is Callaway.
You're talking about the game in general, this year? Oh, no question the skills are down, KB.
Duncan Callaway marking in front of Wanganeen. Richardson's going to be the target. Huskus got back, made it a contest. Dickey again cleans up, back to Lyle. They're working overtime to Wanganeen. Showed a lot of courage. Ball thumped away by Chaffee. And Bauer, who's also been on the interchange bench, now having a run, takes it over. So again, Wanganeen, full of courage. So a chance for the Tigers with a boundary throw in on 50. Pushing and shoving late, thumps the ball. Dickey, good hands, he's all tied up. That's holding the ball. Advantage has been paid. Bowden from an almost impossible angle. Wow, Joel Bowden has missed.
So close that one, the crowd went up.
That's what I thought, Pete. They gave the indication it was a goal.
Oh, they're getting pretty excited here at the G. There's Paul Broderick on the phone, ready to come onto the action.
Yes, Broderick hasn't had the greatest of years. Let's hope that he can turn it around. Morton, Brewer, short of the wing, over the head of Rogers. Knights, pressured, and the ball taken over with Kingsley for a throw-in in the right forward pocket.
16 possessions to Matthew Knights. Nick Daffy's had 14.
Gasper and Poole. Poole wins it decisively. Eagleton, snap, Cummings, Turner. Cummings twisting, turning, has to get rid of it pretty quickly. Nash likes this situation. Snaps, and has he kicked it? He's kicked something, hit the post. So second behind today for Chris Nash, the former Tiger. 4 points the margin, 27 plays, 31 goals at a premium, just 3 minutes before half-time. And there he is, waiting to come on. Broderick, left footer, Turner. Kicks in, Campbell, Dickey, backs into him, still Campbell. That was a great mark at left half-back.
Well, I thought Poole should have come over the top. Campbell from the half-back line, finds Gale, back edge of the centre square, Lockwood on the mark. Gives it across to Tawney. So the Tigers looking for some run out of defence. Wanganeen was momentarily held. The bounce was a poor one, and Stevens just thumps it over the line.
Callaway's done a pretty good job on Wanganeen. 9 possessions to 3. 4 now, in fact, to Wanganeen. 9 to 4. So he can play an any size player, Duncan Callaway. Matches up on a small, medium or a tall.
And Robbie Powell sitting on the interchange bench. He's had a pretty big first half. He's had 14 possessions. Here's a chance. Harrison from a long way out. A big bomb. He's drilled it.
Well,
Paul Broderick didn't waste any time getting into the action, did he?
No, that doesn't just show you if you go direct, you get rid of the ball quickly, straight at goal, you get the conversion you're after. There's the ruck, a bit of holding on there. Broderick straight into it, good hands. Go long.
Paul Broderick straight into the action with a hand pass that resulted in a goal to Harrison, and the Tigers back in front by 2 points. Goals at a premium, and that was a handy one, getting close to half-time. Rogers over the head of Francou. Kicks to a contest. Campbell taken down in that tackle. Wanganeen from centre half-back tries to draw a man. Kickers, well, Eagles in, it's effective. If they can get rid of it. Prescott's got him. Crowd one holding the ball. Tawney from Harrison. Tigers looking the goods. Richardson, strong mark. Let out from Daniels. Play continues. Broderick. Holland, it'll be over the line, will it? Yes, no, still in play. That's some sort of a kick. Statistician scratching his head, yes or no. Now it's a ball up.
Front on tackle, there's a Richmond player in trouble on the outer side of the ground. I can't pick up who it is at the moment. They've had to stop play.
Well, it's one of the Callaways.
Yes, one of the
Oh,
Callaways.
he's done it easy.
Just check around the ball. See whether it's Andrew or Duncan.
Looks like Andrew Kay, but they have called for the stretcher and it is left knee, so that's not very good news for the Tigers.
It's only his 4th game, the youngster. I didn't see how that happened.
Well, Andrew Callaway is on the half-back line, so that's Duncan Callaway.
Duncan, yeah.
And Dr. Chris Bradshaw out there just having a look.
Quite often those injuries occur in simple little contests.
Joel Bowden's going up for the Tigers and Powell back on.
We've got to look at it here. There we see Campbell going back with Lyle, and then just getting caught out there was Duncan Callaway in front of Wanganeen, just falling over Campbell there, his teammate. He's done a marvellous job on Gavin Wanganeen today so far.
Wanganeen just 4 kicks in 1 handball and 1 mark. And we'll depend on Russell Morris to try to get us some news from the rooms. Let's take another look at it now. Campbell going with the flight of the ball. Callaway comes in from the side.
Hyperextended his knee.
Now play continues. We've got a minute and a half before half-time. Powell from the pocket. Now he throws it away. Campbell across his body, out in front of goal, and the mark is out of Bauer. Started on the bench today, Nathan Bauer. So Geeshan making a couple of moves close to half-time. Broderick came on. His first touch was a hand pass. That resulted in a goal to Harrison. And now Bauer, who also started on the bench, has come on and has a shot at goal with just on a minute remaining before half-time. Now, is this construed as the new time wasting with full forwards kicking for goal?
Oh no, his boot came off, Pete.
Just posing the question, Roscoe.
No, he's got to put it back on. It's a really contentious issue there, Pete, because it's such an important area of the game. Obviously, if you're having a shot at goal, you should be entitled to take your time.
Bauer directly in front, 30 metres out. He kicks and he goes.
Well, you're right, Pete, those 2 players, Broderick also had a shot for goal earlier, just didn't make the distance. And Bauer, of course, with his running capacity, able to try and nullify some of the run of Port, which has been in Port today. You just see Campbell bring that ball inside against a clever kick, and Mead just chastising himself after this, not able to get to the flight of the ball there quickly enough to affect a spoil.
Tigers by 8 points. They trailed by 11 points at quarter time, so it's been a 19-point turnaround. Under a minute left in this second quarter. Free kick. The whistle is gone.
Yes, taken down after it was laid, so interfered with when the ball had gone forward to the Brewer kick, whilst it landed centre half forward for Port to come back. And Port now a chance to set something up if they can, although you can see at the moment numbers dropping back to try and cover that half-forward area.
Feeds it off to Kingsley, who just pumps the ball long. So a chance for Port, but marking in front is Andrew Callaway. Just seen his brother Duncan stretch it from the field, gives it across to Chaffee. Also started on the interchange bench, goes wide to Benny Gale. It's all tied up by Dew, try to feed it off. Dickey's had a big first half as well. He's had 14 possessions for the game. Sees the ball over the line.
Just an untidy handball there by Brendan Gale to the feet of his teammate, making it terribly difficult for him to run on with the footy.
39 plays 31. Broderick kicked off the ground by Gale. Up towards Harrison, overruns the ball. Mead kicks a poor one. Gale picks up, gives it back to Broderick, the playmaker on 50. Back to Campbell, game number 150. Long bomb, this could be a goal. It's hit the post. What an important kick because the siren's about to sound. So right on the siren, Wayne Campbell has hit the post, but the Tigers will go in at the main break with a 9-point lead.
Yes, that's a handy turnaround by Richmond after they trailed by 11 points at quarter time. They were 1-5 to 3-4. But of course the big blow is to Duncan Callaway with that knee injury, and we'll try to bring you some news on that as soon as we can. So Port players gathering as they head towards the rooms under the Great Southern Stand, and Gushin there. I think he'd be a lot happy with the side's effort in the second term. At least they were able to get a couple of goals on the board, which they were unable to do in the first quarter, as I said, kicking 1 goal 5, and they trailed Port Adelaide 4 goals and 7. So at half-time, the Tigers in front, but it's anybody's ball game. We'll take a break. Back in a moment. Second half in the MCG, Richmond leading 5-10 to 4-7. The Tigers by 9 points. Pretty good crowd here now. Wade up high against Gale. Daffy. Holland doesn't get the bounce that he wanted. Mead chops it off well. Almost throws it away. Chance for Broderick, applies a tackle, dumps his opponent down. And the umpire will come in and ball it up just as Holland was making his way towards goal. Now let's see if Callaway's there on the bench.
No, we've got Paul Bullis there.
Seam.
Sitting on the interchange bench, and Evans also on the interchange bench, and Joel Bowden's there, but no Duncan Callaway.
Well, that's not good news at all. This is Dew. He's a left footer, should kick this long, and does. Over the head of Chaffee, he follows it up well, looks for options, squares the ball, looks for Knights, courageous mark. Richmond skipper short of half back.
Good work by Scotty Turner there just to keep Cummings out of the way. Make sure he didn't get to the contest.
Knights goes short. Again, Chaffee as they share it around. His kick to Benny Gale at midfield. Daffy breaks for him on one side, Campbell the other. Kick by the latter, down to Richardson, who takes the mark in front of Daniels.
It's his 11th mark too, Pete, and he's pushing himself wide most of the time.
Yes, he has. Hasn't had too many shots closer than this. He has kicked 2 goals 4. And the cheers you can hear for Duncan Callaway. He's on crutches. Richardson shot at goal for his 3rd, and maybe behind. I have to wait to the goal umpire. Here it is.
Yes, Peter, I do have news on Duncan Callaway. I just spoke to the Richmond doctor, and the ligaments are ruptured. So not good news for the Richmond side, because it looks unlikely. Obviously, he'll play for the rest of this year. So with ruptured ligaments, or torn ligaments, it looks likely there'll be a reconstruction, and that generally, I think, is around between 9 and 12 months out.
Daniels pumps the ball wide, looking for Mead, who was clever. Tap over to Naish, who comes away from the half-back line, kicks to space, so the race is on. Gaspar's out there as well, along with Chaffee. Good tackle by Morton, forces the ball over the line for a boundary throw-in. 41 plays 31. Tigers in front by 10 points. They trailed by 11 points at quarter time, and we can see there Duncan Callaway and Joel Bowden sitting on the interchange bench. Bowden can certainly come back on, but not Duncan Callaway. Chaffee has won a bit of the ball, some early touches in his 3rd term. Broderick back to Rogers, goes short. The Tigers have set up the loose player. It's Daffy, who's had a very good game, drills it. Coming out in front was Richardson, bounced off his chest, pounced on again by Gale. Great play by the big fella, just tumbles the ball forward.
unfortunately for Richmond, out on the full.
Did everything right, controlled the ball beautifully for a big fella, got it off the ground, but then had more time than he perhaps was told by his teammate just to straighten and settle.
Huskers in a big transfer. This is dangerous play, 2 against 1. It's put Kingsley under a lot of pressure. So danger here for Port. Campbell just couldn't quite get the run of the ball. Daffy, quick snap. Got it. It has hit the post. Now Daniels convinced the goal umpire that it hit the post.
Who was the umpire there?
Because it looked like he was going to ignore him. But Daniels was very, very persuasive. Let's have a look at this again.
Gee, it must have just shaved it. Oh, the crowd went up. I thought it was a goal. So kick in from Daniels. He's gone long. Francou brushes 1 tackle, tries to brush 2. Richmond with numbers. Holland, Rogers, Roderick. Oh, great tackle, Mead. Daffy missed that errant hand pass because of that previous tackle, and Port Power able to tie it up at centre half forward for Richmond.
And again, putting themselves under pressure there, Richmond, by the short handball. A kick out of that situation gets it away from the congestion and leaves Richardson 1 out in the square.
Laid against Holland. They come from the same sides. Quick kick by Mead. Only as far as Knights, though, if he can gather it in. It's a loose ball. It's going to be a big one to win this. Lyle, intended for Francou. He's still got it. Confronted by Knights and Naish. And a ball up inside the centre square. 11 points the margin. Lockwood, Chalmers, and I think that must be Mark Harwood in the middle there. Haven't seen him yet.
And Brent Heaver as well, sitting on the interchange bench for Port.
And I don't think he's been out either today. Bauer to Michael Gale to Daffy. Having a great game. Daffy might almost, no, it won't be a goal, it'll be a mark. Holland. Had it been a few millimetres higher, I think he might have tried to let it go. It was on target for a goal, but he had to go for it and grabbed it.
Yes, when you're forward, that's what you like. Just get the ball down quickly, and you're 1 out with your opponent. Holland able to go from behind in front of the Huskers. Important goal if he gets it.
Point blank range, 15 metres out. He's kicked that one.
Well, Holland was moved from centre half back in that second quarter away from the umpires conferring it. No, it's still a goal, definitely. Holland was moved away from his Port opponent at centre half back here. Gasper went down there on Poole. Holland's gone to the forward line. This is where he can be most effective there, helping out Richardson. He's done that before. It's an important move.
Challenge has been thrown down to Port. They now trail by 17 points. They led by 11 points at quarter time. Out of the centre square, Kingsley kicks a high ball inside 50. Naish will be the high flyer from behind. Big thump away at ground level. Pushed forward by Rogers. Taken away again by Kingsley. Back to Naish. Quick snap. Backing back is Toyney. Gives it across to Turner. Kicks wide. That's a beautiful long kick. Finds Daffy. Been one of the stars today. Goes short. Powell had a terrific first half. 14 possessions. It's on the edge of the centre square. Again, a long bomb. Richardson's going to be the target. He's got 3 to beat. Lade just ambles to the ball and casually heads the ball towards the boundary line. Harrison kept it alive. So a big chance for the Tigers. Again, a high ball. Holland, the high flies. Gale over the top. Magnificent mark to Michael Gale. Listen to the Tiger supporters. They love it.
That's a great catch, KB. I thought he was hesitant there. Not sure whether he should go.
He'll show that one to his brother. Hey?
Terrific mark to take that on your chest at that height.
Well, one that Michael Roach took here. Not quite as good, of course, but
not as good as that mark,
no.
Peter. That's the greatest mark I've ever seen taken in AFL football.
Oh, now we're starting arguments. Hey?
Important change here being made by John Cale too. Chalmers is going down to the full back line.
I don't think anyone's taken a better mark than Michael Roach's mark against Hawthorn. This is to put the Tigers in front.
Right.
Tigers in front by 23 points if he can drill it. He's off target. So they're 3 straight kicks in front, the Tigers. 18 points. And disappointing there for Michael Gale not to finish off with a goal after taking a terrific mark.
Pretty good grab though, KB, wasn't it? Start talking about the marks of the year. There have been some terrific grabs. Probably Montgomery's comes to mind as one of the best at the moment. But anyway, that's just a footy discussion for everybody around the bar later. Dew. Gee, he can kick a footy. Can't get it to a teammate. Gale in front of Mead. Now Knights. Kick taken by Rogers. On the ground is Chalmers. Terrible kick, Gale. I suppose it'd be a bit of a paradox if he kicked a goal with that mark, but is that going to be 50?
They're making hard work of it, Richmond, just going in short all the time. The kicks are just... And he's going to play 50, yes.
Yes, it is.
Umpire there just saying, taken high.
Daffy, who's got amazing stats so far, 18 kicks, 1 hand pass, 5 marks, a couple of tackles, has a chance for his first goal, and he gets it.
Well, it's important that Richmond followed on from that second quarter effort. They made it a 20-point turnaround from the quarter-time break where they were down by 11 points, led by 9 at half-time. They just forged forward now with these 2 goals. Holland, of course, the first one, and now Dew just very untidy. Obvious 50-metre penalty.
Richmond by 24 points. Great spirit of Port Adelaide is now being tested. Can the power come back? Blade in the ruck, beaten by Gale. Lyle thought he had it, lost it, taken away by Francou. Long hand pass to Poole, just tried to shovel it out. Michael Gale crashes his way through, gives it across to Prescott. He's had the big job on young Nick Stevens all day. Back to Daffy, who's been a real match winner. Kicks the ball down here. It's Richardson out in front, got a shot from mine.
Free kick.
Yep, against Chalmers, quite right, Kev, a push in the back.
So the bigger player now playing on Matthew Richardson with Chalmers. Daniels had the job so far. Richardson drills it. Here's Holland in front. He's the target and he's got it as well. So the tall timber up forward. Big problems for Port Adelaide.
Yes, Huskus has to pick up Holland. Chalmers has come on, as we mentioned, replacing Stephen Daniels to go to Richardson. Becomes such an important player as Holland. If he can just kick his 2 or 3 a game.
And also, Ross, I think Darren Gasper's gone back to centre-half back, so they've got the original structure, the Tigers.
Well, he's kicked 18 goals for the season. Ben Holland is going for his 2nd goal for the match. From 45 metres out, Holland bangs it through.
Holland joins Matthew Richardson as the leading goal kicker for the Tigers today. Both with 2. And they are the only multiple goal kickers on the ground, 8-13 to 4-7.
A big challenge here for Port, who are missing quite a number of their key players. They've just got to man up now and make sure that Richmond don't just blow them right out of the game in this quarter. I'd like to see them man up a bit more in the centre, particularly on Knights and Daffy. You know, Nathan Eagleton's got to really sit with Matthew Knights and not chase the footy for a while.
Five goals the margin now in favour of Richmond. Laid, big jump, loses out to Gale. Wanganeen gives the power a chance, only to see Tawney take the mark in front of Naish. Well, he's got out wide, in fact very wide. Gale the target, confronted by Cummings. Goal to so far, Brewer traps it nicely, out the back, couldn't handle it. Still Brewer, but outside 50, it's going to be a ball up. 61 plays 31. That's 8-13 to 4-7. Number 40, Paul Evans. His first run. Now a chance for Naish. Hand passes on. Kingsley. Couldn't do much with it. Broderick, keen to get into the action. Give it to his skipper. That won't lose him any votes. Flying tackle.
He was lucky there. He was taken high, otherwise he would have been caught holding the footy.
Knights. Well, guess who's got it again? Daffy. Nick Daffy coming in for kick number 21. Just one hand pass. This sort of steps like you used to have, KB.
Thanks, Pete.
Holland behind, couldn't mark it. Powell onto the left, well shepherded, snaps, misses the major part of the prize and kicks just one behind.
Peter, the only difference with KB stats, he wouldn't have had the handball.
I thought about handballing a lot, Russell, and it's the thought that counts.
Yeah, it certainly is. But Daffy's get a lot of his possessions across the midfield, KB. He's been moved away from the goals. Traditionally, he may kick 3 or 4 or even 5 goals, but I think that's where Richmond are getting their drive off that half-back line through Daffy through the midfield.
So Port under pressure in this third quarter. 62 plays 31, so the Tigers have doubled their score. Lyle, across half-back, has had a fair bit of the ball. Jew, impressive young player. Francou sees the ball go over the line, so they'll toss it back in. Josh Francou on screen has had it 15 times, along with Adam Huskis, 17 across half-back. Lyle's had it 14 times. Donald Dickey also has had a pretty good game so far, 13 possessions. From the boundary throw in, Gale starting to get his hand on the ball. Daffy, it's absolutely killed Port. Rockets the ball wide. Harrison from 45 metres out kicks a goal. 2 to Harrison. And all of a sudden, the run of the Tigers is proving too much for Port.
And the skill level certainly lifted a bit by Richmond in this quarter too, Kevin. They've been more direct. They've just got the ball instinctive. First handball, first kick. Created there by Daffy again. No question he's been the influential player on the ground along with Knights.
Four to 0 in this quarter. And the margin out to 37 points. So if Port are going to stay in this match, they've got to do something quickly. Can Wanganeen give them something? Boy, do they need it. Huskis, almost a spiral punt out towards centre wing. Stevens, Prescott's nearly got him. In fact, the tackle was effective enough to keep the ball out of bounds. Throw in centre wing out of side. And replay, might have been leg there actually. Tackle started high but finished low. Gasper from Poole does it nicely. Good block. Francou. Knights running with the fight of the football. That's a great mark in front of Eagleton. Centering kick by the skipper. Oh, guess who? The game of his life. 6 Brownlow votes for Nick Daffy, you'd reckon, today. Daffy's kicked a half forward. Can't find a forward. Lyle mops up. Knights at the other end. Cummings went without it. Turner didn't. Scotty Turner kicks. Well, you'd look for Daffy, wouldn't you, the game he's playing today. Lyle kicks to centre wing. Evans, first kick, down to Cummings. Probably too far out to score from there, about 65 metres. Port power still to score in the third quarter. Stevens makes a lead. Kicks to the front of the kick-off area. Marking contest. And the Tigers going to clear it away again. No, they're not. Cummings. Snap. Well, we'll call it a snap. Might have been a pass, but it was a terrible kick, whichever way you look at it. Gasper. Just clear of Francou. Has to get rid of it quickly. Up to Broderick. Back to Michael Gale. 150 gamer Campbell, who kicks to half forward.
So a chance for the Tigers. Here comes Richardson, this time beaten by Chalmers at ground level. Benny Gale has got a chance to feed it off to the running Campbell, who's kept on coming down from the half-back line. Wayne Campbell in game number 150 kicks a goal.
Yes, and again that half-back line creating the rebound. Scotty Cummings often not caught on the kick on his left foot, and that showed. A poor attempt at trying to get the ball towards goal. The ball ends up the other end, and the old stages combining there to finish off.
(10-14, 74 to 4-7-31, Port Adelaide. have been scoreless in this third term. The Tigers have kicked 4 goals for. So Knights once more out of the centre square. Knights and Daffy absolutely killed Port Adelaide midfield. This time we see the ball over the line for a boundary throw in.
You've robbed your own side. They've kicked 5-4.
5-4. Official AFL website. Roderick started on the interchange bench, tumbles the ball forward. This time it's been marked by Huskus.
Roderick then on his wrong foot, so he didn't kick it as well as he would have liked. And Power really need to score, don't they? Chalmers. Anything will do. It's played a Richmond mark, and it's going to Callaway. Andrew Callaway. Duckett on the bench, we believe, with ligament damage to a knee.
It's untidy matching up here, Pete. Just no one picking up those Richmond players in the middle.
No. Rogers has kicked. Huskus from Powell. Mead. Dickey at left centre wing. Around Bauer. Kick comes up towards half forward. Gale again. In front of Lade, takes the mark. Squares the ball. Gee, Richmond do this well. Knights. Seen this so often this afternoon. The skipper running it out of defence.
Great kick.
Guess where he's kicked it again. Straight to Daffy. He's having a picnic. 23 kicks and it's not three-quarter time yet. On to Prescott. Back to Campbell. Can he kick another one on his 150th? Well, as good as a goal, he's got it to Richardson.
I'm not sure that was the intended pass. It certainly carried the head of Holland.
He won't take it back, though, just the same.
It was a bit of a float of it, you're right. But again, the advantage, you play in front of the forward. If the kick comes in awkwardly, you're always a chance.
Richardson for goal number 3. He's got that one. I have him down for 3-5, but the important stat for Richardson, he's taken 12 marks today, 12 kicks, 3 hand passes, 12 marks and 3 goals. That's not a bad afternoon's work.
Yes, and again, Daffy, as you mentioned, Pete, just featuring once more in Campbell, always at the end of that situation. And here's his floating kick. I suggested perhaps for Holland, but too much carry for him. Richardson in front.
Six unanswered goals for the Tigers in this third quarter. 80 plays, 31. Gale against Poole. Lyle has battled hard. Just pumps the ball back inside 50. They've struggled on the forward line today. Out in front is Gaspar. Start on the forward line for the Tigers, playing in defence in the second half. Chaffey has done well since coming off the interchange bench. Andrew Callaway just gave it across the Knights. Finds his teammate there in Broderick, who tumbles the ball down towards 50. Huskus, the All-Australian, trying to set it up through Mead. So a transfer of play to Dickey. Still inside the defensive 50. Now the loose player has been set up inside the centre of the ground. Here comes Rogers, been taken by Kingsley. Kicks the ball deep into the forward line. Cummings out in front. This time still can't take it. Hasn't got the hands today. The touch is missing. Short. Been marked by Stevens.
From Heaver.
And that kick came from Brent Heaver.
Just onto the ground, Kev.
So Scotty Cummings, even though he's got the gloves on, is having great difficulty in just taking a clean grab.
Yes, and these are bread and butter situation for full forwards too, Kev. You don't get many chances like that. When they do come your way, you've just got to hang on to them.
So Stevens got very close to the man on the mark.
Touched.
He's already kicked the goal.
It's touched.
And it has been touched
by
Prescott standing on the mark. So it's just a behind. So there's a lesson for the youngster. Get well back from the man on the mark.
Well, on that point, KB, I think he's got to get used to being tagged. Prescott's done an excellent job on him, but for a player with only 4 or 5 games under his belt, it's a pretty tough start for him.
Well, you don't expect that, do you, so early in your career. Tawney from half back. Here's Harrison. He's got the sit. And drops a sitter. Good enough to get the ball away to Joel Bowden off the interchange bench as well. Bang! Straight on the chest of Matthew Richardson.
And that's how it's running for Richmond this quarter. Even when Harrison misses that uncontested mark, they've still got a chance to get back and get onto the footy. Not enough pressure.
Well, Port Power
They've come into this game with 17 injured players. No Treadray, no Primus, no Wilson, just to name 3 guns. And they are struggling now. Richardson's kicks a poor one. Just floats over the line, out on the full.
Well, he did that at the other end, didn't he, in the previous quarter? Similar kick like that. Just dropped it incorrectly. Mead. Knights punches from behind. Eagleton reads it best. Gets it out to Heaver. Doesn't get the bounce that he wanted. Takes Tawney down in the tackle. Tawney comes up with a footy. Well played. And again, Bauer slung. Rogers will get a free kick for a high tackle. I think he's going back to Bauer.
No, you're right, but he's coming back to Rogers.
So, Rogers right centre wing for Richmond. Inside the last 5 minutes of the third quarter. It's been a good one for the Tigers. Kingsley couldn't complete the mark. Well, the umpires played a hip out or a shepherd.
It's a free kick. I think it might have actually been holding against Huskus. Pete on Harrison.
Let's see what
See there,
happened. Oh yes, a bit of a block there.
Yep.
Harrison will get the free kick. One of the Tigers' multiple goal kickers today. Harrison has 2. Chance to join Richardson as their leading goal kicker from 54 metres. Mammoth kick. Not the accuracy required, and he's put it through for a minor score. 2 goals, 1 against his name late in the third quarter. Well, can Port get themselves out of this hole? Scoreboard would tell you no, but as Mead makes a lead, there's a bit of play left in this match still.
So a great third turn by the Tigers. Wanganeen gets the ball across. Heaver again kicks the ball down towards centre half forward. A bad bounce for Lade. Poole tapped it over his head. This is better play by Lade to Stevens, and Stevens' long shot has missed.
Just enough pressure from Prescott from behind, just to nudge him around the backside without interfering and pushing him in the back. Just put him off his kick.
He's kicked their entire score this quarter. 2 behinds.
So Benny Gale, who's been so good again today, that's 12 marks. He's had 19 possessions. Gives the ball off to Chaffee. Kicks the ball down this time. You see the mark has been taken by Harwood. So playing his first game. A youngster for Port Adelaide. Ball transfers to Francou on the edge of the centre square. So he kicks a long bomb. Cummings in front. He's got 2 to beat. They need a crummer. Tackle by Cummings on Knights. Too high.
Well, you've got to play. That's absolutely buried him from behind.
Sort of jumped onto his back. He's a piggyback. So Knights. It's been a magnificent player today. 24 possessions, 7 marks, along with Nick Daffy, who's had 25 and 8. They have been 2 big players midfield, throwing Benny Gale, who's taken over in the big man department.
Mark number 13 for Gale.
And we can see why the Tigers have got on top in this third quarter. Port Power goalless in this third term. The Tigers have booted 6. Knights from the half back line. Some slack checking, and Broderick's got it on centre wing. Well, if he can find his best form for the Tigers, he'll give them more power midfield. Started on the interchange bench. Coming out is Harrison's booted a couple of goals. This time can't take the grab, and they'll toss it back in.
KB, just getting back to that tackle of Scotty Cummings, I mean, someone like a Jason Dunstall would have probably wrapped Matthew Knights up and got the free kick and had a shot for goal, but it was a very crude tackle. Didn't really need to push him in the back. That's the difference between, I suppose, champions and just good players.
Francou, you saw a shot of Paul Bullis there, just onto the ground. Kick comes around for Port by Lade. Out in front of goal. Cummings has the mark this time. No disputing that.
I think a bit of frustration comes into it as well, Russell, when you drop a few marks, the confidence drops away as well.
Certainly, KB, but I think it's also important for players, senior players, to have that responsibility and accountability to tackle correctly, and would put them in a perfect chance to kick his, or put at least Port Adelaide's 5th goal on the board at a crucial time.
Let's hope he can make amends for Port.
So Cummings, the usual routine, puts the glove on the back of the shorts. The power goal so far in the third quarter. Cummings usually an accurate kick. What's he done with that one? It's gone away to the right. But he's got it. 1-3 to Scott Cummings. Not too much for Port Power fans to cheer about in the third quarter. But after West Coast came back last night in the second term against the Western Bulldogs, who's to say that they're out of this match at the moment?
No, there's no question but that can happen. But just on the form at the moment, the body language is going to take a lot of work to turn this game around by Port. They're still going to need more of those from that fellow.
Scotty Cummings kicks his first goal of the game. His 19th for the season. That should lift his confidence. And maybe that of Port Power. Gale certainly getting his hand on the ball first, giving the midfield players like Daffy first use of the ball. Charging out is Harrison. Couldn't take it on the half volley. Daffy again. This time taken away by Wanganeen. Sets it up to Eustace from half back. Feeds it off to Lyle. Wants to kick the ball towards centre half forward. So Lade in front, some pushing and shoving. Couldn't take it. They still lack a few crumbs across the half forward line. Francou, the tackler. No free kick, as it's all tied up by Paul Bullis. Josh Francou, 18 possessions and 4 marks. Midfield players have certainly had their hands full today. Bullis goes to ground, picked up by Tawney, again from half back. Kicks wide, so it's a one-on-one duel. Michael Gale has got Wanganeen to beat. Duncan Callaway had the job early in the game, stretched it off in that second quarter with a knee problem. Punched away this time by Mead against Rogers. And we see the ball trickle over the line.
Last few seconds of the third quarter. It's been what you would probably think a match-winning one for Richmond. The Tigers trailed at the first term, 1-5 to 3-4, 11 points at the first change, but they've been in command of the match since then. Dickey, Brewer, confronted. Still Dickey, and still can't get a clean possession away. Young Harwood was in there. Chance for Knights. Chance to have his head taken off, and, well, he was going to play on. He might have a shot. No.
Well, a big quarter to the Tigers, Peter. 6-5 to 1-2.
In fact, players have taken up their position a little bit early. That's why the umpire was hesitating there. Final quarter from the MCG, 42 points the margin in favour of Richmond after Port Power held to just the 1 goal during the third term. Rogers trying to get a kick away, and the umpire will come in and bounce it again. Nick Daffy has had an amazing game, 24 kicks to three-quarter time, 3 hand passes. Richardson 13 marks, and Benny Gale with an equal amount have been stars for the Tigers. Gale, speaking of him, Campbell at his 150th, on to Bauer, who spent a bit of time on the bench. Bauer kicks out to half forward. Ball socked away by Daniels. Prescott, who's done a good job on young Stevens. That's almost a mark to Mead, not paid by the umpire. Holland. Daffy slips over, about the first mistake he's made for the day. Dew's kick bounces out of bounds in front of the perhaps not appropriately named smoker stand in this day and age. It will be a boundary throw.
Yes, the only reason I slipped over, Pete, was because the handball coming to him from Holland was to the wrong side. He had to try and go back and get it and lost his footing.
Should have been a free kick to Mead, though. Scored high as well as the mark.
Throw in, Daffy. Could have predicted that, I guess. Port with the numbers, and Lade takes the mark despite a big jump by Richardson. Lade from fullback. Kicks up to Francou, who takes the mark at centre field over the head of Matty Knights. Evans the target, couldn't complete it. Turner does well. Bauer again, he'll relieve the pressure for the Tigers.
Well, Port need an early goal to lift the spirits. Michael Gale got a pat on the back by the coach, Jeff Geeshan, at three-quarter time. Drives the ball into Bowden, still looking for his best form. Back to Campbell. He's kicked the goal on his 150th. There's a throw. Not seen by the umpire. Francou. It's a hurried kick. Knights directing traffic back to Bauer. They can raffle this. Bad bounce, unfortunately for the Tigers. Chance now for Heaver. just taps the ball on, and unfortunately for Port Power, goes towards Bauer. Good tackle by young Harwood. Looks like he's playing at centre-half forward. Chaffee just chips it wide and finds Tawney. Still on the half-back flank. The loose player is Gaspar. Back edge of the centre square. Feeds the ball up straight away. Here comes the running Chaffee. Nearly dragged down. Still good enough to get his kick in up towards centre-half forward. Coming out was Dew. Dispossessed this time by Prescott. He's played a big game on Nick Stevens. Back to Broderick. Kicks into the pocket. Here's Richardson. So the Tigers just too many numbers, too much run in the legs. Forcing the ball forward. And landing in the hands of Matthew Richardson, who's booted 3 goals.
And now taken 14 marks, Kev.
A lot of his marks have been around about the 50-metre mark. This will be a very good kick. It's across the face of goals, starting to bend back. Holland there appeals for the mark. Through for a behind. So there's Matthew Richardson on screen, getting back to his very best form after breaking his left arm.
11-16, and of those 16 behind, 5 came in the first quarter. Dew, straight out in front of goal. Lyle has certainly been one of Port Power's best players today. It's up towards centre wing. Heaver gives it away to Morton. And that's well delivered too. The mark taken by Evans. We can kick goals. We kicked 5 in Port Power's first practice match this year.
Started on the bench today, and when Treadrow was playing, he was a pretty good foil in the forward pocket. So whether he can do the same thing with Scotty Cummings at full forward remains to be seen.
Well, if they're going to make inroads into this deficit, it's got to start soon. Evans right on 50. He's hooked it a little bit, and just the one behind. Well, they were certainly in this match at half-time, Port, just trailing by the 9 points, but after half-time, it's been really one-way traffic. Still the difference is 42 points as Scotty Turner kicks in.
That third quarter burst by the Tigers, 6-5 to just 1-2, has set up their lead. Daffy from half-back to centre wing. Bowden got the bounce he wanted. Back to Prescott. Back to Andrew Callaway. His brother, unfortunately, stretched it off with a knee injury. And we see Mead just push Harrison over the line. So Harrison also with 2 goals had an important part in that third term, along with Holland. They were dangerous forwards. Boundary throw in on centre wing. Mead down to Eagleton. Just tumbles the ball forward towards Chaffee. He's got Morton to beat. Takes it over. So 82 plays 40. Tigers by 42 points, both sides coming into this game 5 and 4. Important game. Port Power, a bit undermanned. Broderick. Maybe some signs getting back to his best form. Rogers out wide to the running Knights. Just thumps the ball again deep into the forward line. Here's Richardson. Up before acceptances. Has to give away the free kick.
He was up before nominations, not acceptances.
So Chalmers takes it. Kicks wide. Gale wants to make it a contest against Dick. He does well, wins out. He's had a good game. Gives it across to Bauer. Got the bounce he wanted. Again, the Tigers come forward. Bowden trying to set it up. Gives it back to Harrison, who's off target.
2 goals, 2 to Ben Harrison today. 43 points the margin. Percentage all important for the Tigers today. As Russell mentioned, at 3/4 time, they have the lowest percentage of any side in the 8. Port Power's currently is much better. Dew. Short. Eagleton. Plenty of run on those legs. He tries to get around Harrison. The balk. Wanganeen gives it back to him. And still he goes at centre wing. Cummings can't complete it. Francou missed it. Turner will go off the ground to get it away from Evans. Stevens attempted tackle it effective. Knights. Campbell in his 150th. Sprints down the members' side wing here at the MCG. Port with the numbers. Mead couldn't complete the mark. Follows on well.
Kicks to Lade, who was a bit statuesque there. Did well, though, to get it to Eagleton, who kicks to a contest. Harwood, the youngster. Eagleton. Off his left. And the mark is taken by the other Callaway, Andrew, to Rogers. Finding more confidence with every game. Campbell.
Just a quick one, Pete. Matthew Richardson's had the big hook from Jeff Geeshy, maybe for jumping to and being a bit irresponsible in the forward line.
Okay, thanks, Fly. Prescott from Broderick. Oh, gee, that's a good roost. Plenty of distance in that kick. Holland, oh, gee, he's got good hands. Terrific hands.
Makes a hell of an addition, Pete, doesn't it? If you've had someone like Richardson who's taken 14 marks up forward, even though he hasn't converted that well, and then Holland alongside him, who was important in that third quarter. Those 2 goals he kicked. Just takes strong marks on. They give you a target all the time.
Wayne Campbell's had 34 possessions in game number 150. Yep. And if you throw in Matthew Knight's 28 and Daffy's 29, you can see where the dominance has come for the Tigers.
A goal would make the difference. 49 points. Daniel stands the mark. It's there. Kicks his third, joining Matthew Richardson as the game's leading goal kicker, and you would think the game would be safe now for Richmond.
You think so, Pete? He's such a valuable player. If he can just get his hands on the ball half a dozen times and give you 2 or 3, maybe 4 goals a game, it makes a hell of a difference for your scoring capacity. And it's important they finish this game off well, Richmond, because they front St Kilda, North and Sydney in the next 3 weeks. It's a pretty tough run.
Well, this is a black day for Port. 13 minutes left in this final quarter. Only kicked 2 goals since quarter time.
They front West Coast at home next week.
So Brewer out of the centre square. They need some of their players back as well. So chance for Port. Morton gives the ball back. Eagleton. Crash, bang. Taken away by Daffy, who just ripped it out of his arms and kicks the ball up towards the centre wing. This is a great kick. Harrison makes good ground as well. That's better skills by the Tigers. Back to Prescott. Wants to chip it over the top. Under pressure was Broderick. Good attempt by Lyle. All tied up by Gale. They'll bounce on the half-forward line. Tigers by 49 points. You see young Eagleton here. First of all was Bauer, and then you see Benny Gale, the tackler. He's had a big game, Benny Gale, as well. 21 positions and 13 marks. Brewer back to Mead. So he's got Dickey Lewson in the centre of the ground. Will kick the ball long. So a chance for Evans, pushing and shoving. Over the top is Cummings. That's a better grab. More purpose there. Good purchase on the ball.
Yeah, set himself up well for that too, KB. Just had a bit of a run at it. The kick came in high enough for him to be able to do that. Scotty Turner caught right out of position.
Well, he's just kicked the 1 goal. That came in the 3rd term. He's kicked 3 behinds. He's kicked 19 goals for the season. He's directly in front, and he'll be kicking from 35 metres. Scotty Cummings leans back, but kicks a goal.
Yes, we see Richardson being brought back onto the ground as Evans comes off. And obviously just cooling his heel for a while, as KB said, getting the message from the coach. It's important that Port Adelaide just keep pushing forward, don't concede at this stage. You can still pitch a few goals back from here.
Scott Cummings, the first multiple goal kicker for the Power, getting his second. Wanganeen, a little chip shot. Chaffee went without it. Knock on by Broderick. Hand pass now comes back to Wanganeen.
That was some kick.
Good mark to Evans.
That was a great kick, Roscoe.
It was. It's only his 7th. They haven't had enough of that sort of thing from Gavin Wanganeen today.
Another change being made by Richmond. Sorry, Roscoe.
It's all right. He's had Callaway keeping him pretty quiet for the most part until he went off. And now Michael Gale's on the same job from Gavin Wanganeen.
So Paul Evans
just inside 50 as he lines it up. And like many of his teammates earlier, has hooked it for one behind. His second.
It's twice now, Ross, that he's pushed it left.
42 points the margin, and that's what it was at three-quarter time.
Joel Bowden just off the ground again. Broderick all tied up by Dickey. The free kick will go to Benny Gale. Feeds it off to Knights. He really has been a dominating player from the opening bounce. I think against the Tigers you need players playing on Knights and Daffy and Campbell, making certain that you limit their influence on the game.
The Knights had Brewer for a while, and he's had Eagleton and Kingsley. So they try to share it out, just haven't played tight enough.
Bauer, looked like he got a shove, no free kick, they'll ball it up. 89 plays 47. So the Tigers by 42 points. They trailed by 11 points at quarter time, led by 9 points at half time, and now extended it to 42.
Has the ball gone flat, has it? Oh, not bad, Hart.
Just a bit to the right. Minor score.
It's an umpire, John Harvey. Will bounce on the half-forward line for Port Power. Young Harwood in the ruck. Morton, short kick, Knights at ground level, bottom of the pack. Loose ball, Kingsley pounced on it. It's a hurried kick inside 50. There's a terrific mark. Running backwards is Matthew Rogers. He's had a big game.
Player, isn't he?
He has been a terrific player this year across half-back. Started really with the Tigers as a forward and maybe playing on the ball and across the wing. But it seems now in defence with his pace, he's just added another string to his bow. He's been very good. Jew looks to be a player. It was a poor option kick, short to a contest on the boundary line. So they'll toss it in. 31,225 fans here today to see the Tigers take on Port Power. And Richmond fans would be pretty happy at this stage with just under 9.5 minutes left in this final quarter.
Bowden comes back on. I think it was Tawney that left the ground. He's got a bit of cramp. Wanganeen shuffles it out. And still stretching those hamstrings and calf muscles, and then Achilles now. 42 points the margin, that's what it was at three-quarter time. Broderick to Gale. Michael Gale's kick. Harrison in front, Mead from behind. Still Harrison. Might have been actually top of the mark,
but yep. Got his left hand on it first and just tapped it down and controlled it.
One of the Tigers' multiple goal kickers. Richardson, oh, good grab. In front of Chalmers.
Well, I said in that first quarter, Pete, just important he kicks the goals. He's just kicked the 3, 2 on the second one and the third. He needs to pinch this one as well, just to keep his confidence up.
One of the marks, though, as we've mentioned, have been around about the 50-metre mark. And he's missed that one to the left again.
Yeah, it's highlighted, Pete, when you say 15 marks too, it's an indication he's taken, if a full forward's taken 15 marks, invariably you think he's probably kicked 6 or 7, but he has been a fair way out a lot of the time, but then also inaccurate.
3 goals, 6 he's kicked due. Well, straight at under 16 little, gets it away to Mead. Mead's kick up towards where Bauer had it knocked away from him. Knights, Heaver, all gets collected by Broderick. Down he went, Campbell, back to Bowden off his left. On to Powell. Powell marks inside 50 for Richmond. Richardson calling forward in the goal square. Powell, judging by these actions, looks as though he's going to have a shot. That can sometimes throw the opposition defence into disarray when they go short. But he's going to have a shot, it would appear. Robert Powell, 52 metres out. That might have cleared the line. No, touched. Very, very close. So off the hands of the pack for a rush behind. 12-19 to 6-11. We're in the last 8 minutes of the match here at the MCG. Due again to kick in.
Looks a pretty impressive player too, young Jew. Just needs some more players around him today, no doubt. The Port a little bit undermanned. Going to ground was Morton, just threw the ball out towards young Harwood, playing his first game of AFL football. The Tiger player is down. They've already lost Duncan Callaway. Wanganeen is marked. Front edge of the centre square, 55 metres out. He'll go for goal. This could go through. He has. He's kicked it.
There's a player down the other side of the ground too, KB, another Richmond player. He's done a shoulder.
Yeah, it's Rogers, Ross.
Rogers, is it?
He went to dive on the ball and got his right arm caught underneath because he dived onto his front and with the shoulder caught. So it might be an AC problem here.
All right.
Lazarus.
Just see Matty Rogers on screen. He looks as if he might have done a shot. He might have just popped it and it's gone back in. Just there, he got caught. You can see underneath there, young Harwood falling on top of him. It looks to be okay, although he's going to come off the ground, I think. No, he's staying.
They built them tough in front road.
Tigers by 38 points. Brewer out of the centre square for Port Power. Unloads a big bomb, making ground is Evans. Couldn't quite get to it. Bowden feeds it back. Andrew Callaway chips it. And there he is, Matthew Rogers.
Not 100%, is he?
No, it's a free kick against Prescott there, pushing the back against Stevens, trying to protect his teammate in Rogers.
So young Stevens, just the 7 possessions today. So far this year, he's been averaging 24. But a learning game. The young man's career into the pocket. Too much carry on the ball and it's out in the full. So Gaspar started on the forward line, moved into the defence in the second half, and the Tigers in that third term were so rampant. Powell also has the ball knocked out of his hands by Stevens. And again, they'll toss it back in.
KB, if you're coaching the side, you'd bring Rogers off. Why would you risk him, being 6 or 7 goals up? You've got a suspect shoulder, and hopefully you've already won the game, so you really wanted to make that change, wouldn't you?
Well, obviously, the word from the medical people is that maybe it's not too bad. And he's had such a good season.
Yeah, but a lot of players tend to want to stay on just for the glory as well. But as we see, Evans is warming up on the
I
band.
thought he might have hurt his leg before. In fact, the back of his right leg. I see he's coming off now, and Evans will come on. But just thought he grabbed the back of his right leg before too, Roscoe, when he took that mark. So might have even given the hamstring a bit of a twinge. Tigers through Powell on the half-back line. Some fancy footwork. There's a good tackle by Morton, not rewarded. Francou from centre wing again kicks the ball long. So it's a chance for the high flyers. Cummings gives it across to Heaver, will run into an open goal. And drills it.
That's what I was saying before too, kid. It's important they just keep peppering away, Port. Just don't give up the game. It looks as if it's out of their control when you've got 31 scoring shots there to 19. And Cummings there just coming third in line. Manages to control the ball, and Heaver, who's had plenty of time on the bench, not much ground time, finishes off with the easy goal.
Another goal kicker for Port Adelaide, still just the one multiple goal kicker, Scotty Cummings with 2 goals, 3. So a little bit more respectability to Port Power's score. Brewer tries to crash his way through, gets nailed by Knights. Bauer off the ground. Hacks it up towards half forward. That's as far as it's going. Dew. Oh, was eagled it off. Bauer's got him. The 2 number 11's tangle. He's too far out to score. 5.5 minutes left in this match. And the ball delivered pretty well down there to Daniels. Started in defence today on Matty Richardson.
Spent some time on the bench, Pete.
Yes.
Now, Paul Evans has had 2 shots for goal from exactly the same spot Daniels is kicking from, and both shots have gone left.
Gone to the left, Heaver, that's right. That makes sense. Well, he's overcorrected. Cummings nudged out of a turn and will rush it through for a behind to Port Power.
4 marks to Port. They've got it back to 31 points.
Yep. It was 42 at 3/4 time. Turner to bring it back, 8-12 to 12-19, but certainly the third quarter when they just kicked the 1 goal, it let them down. Only a couple of kicks in it at half-time. That's a good mark to Broderick. Trying to regain some of that form that we know he does possess.
He's had 16 possessions since he's come on too, Pete.
Well, that's
he's worked
remarkable,
hard at it.
Now Francou, time to steady, but kicked it straight to the opposition. Another turnover, and this time it's Bauer, and he'll get it on to Chaffee.
Comes it up to Chaffee, who kicks the ball down towards centre wing. Michael Gale just rockets the ball under Powell, back to Gale, who carries the ball now towards the half-forward line, goes short. Too much carry on the ball being taken by Lyle.
He's been very consistent, hasn't he?
Been one of their better players all day. Kicks the ball back, finds Donald Dickey. He's been a partner in crime. Defence, cross half back, feeds it off to Kingsley. Kicks the ball back towards centre half forward. So they're looking for a high flyer. Daniel's in front. Now they need a crummer. They've fallen down on the forward line with crummers. Cross to Heaver. He's going for his second goal for the quarter.
He's got it.
And he's kicked a goal.
He is a crummer. That's what they've lacked. And he's got two this term.
Yep.
Well, today they have lacked crummers on their forward line to pounce on the ball, get to the fall of the ball. And he's a noted goal kicker. He's had a lot of injuries since he's been at Port Adelaide. 2 goals in his final term will help his cause.
Yeah, the pitch is coming off the pedal a bit for Richmond. Got caught out a bit last week in the same situation with the Doggies.
Brent Heaver's only had 4 kicks, but he's kicked 2 goals.
They've kicked the last 4 goals, Pete. What?
Yes, good comeback. Not enough time. Holland in the ruck now. Knights burrows forward, doesn't take the ball. Prescott will go off the ground. Holland. Mongrel punt up towards Richardson. Richardson and Chalmers. Harwood and Gale. Dickey, oh, great catch.
Showed some great dash then, young Harwood.
Yes.
Attacked the ball too, which is a good sign for a young player.
Tubby Taylor would have been proud of that at first step, the way he dragged that in.
He would have made up the ground, Pete.
Tubby probably be out at Waverley. He had a choice today watching his Hawkers. Campbell to Michael Gale. Took a screamer earlier in the match. Certainly mark of the day here. Looking for his brother. Harwood sees the ball out of bounds. The youngster from Tasmania on screen playing his first game. It's a likely colt. So a throw in just outside 50. Lade to do battle with Benny Gale. Lade wins it. Broderick can't complete it. Good tackle there on Kingsley. Ball still in play. No, it's not. Yes, it is. Richardson. I think it came from Harrison, the kick. And Richardson again.
16 marks.
That's a fantastic effort, and they've all been in this area, KB, haven't they? Around about the 50-metre line.
I think that's the only criticism when he plays at full forward. Takes a lot of marks out around 50.
3 goals, 6. Can he kick his 4th? That's on target. Yes, he can. Well, fair reward. Kick, as you said, take 16 marks. You'd expect to kick about 8 or 9 goals, wouldn't you, really?
Well, the important thing, Pete, to start with is he's actually getting the footy. He's taking the marks and he's getting hold of the football. So now if he can just redirect where his positioning is, Kevin says, if he can actually get himself within 30 metres of goal more often, it just makes the conversion so much easier.
Remember Robert Walls, when he was coaching Richmond, suggested one day that Matthew Richardson will kick 16 or 17 in a game. Well, he's kicked 4-7 today, and a couple of kicks haven't quite made it or been out of bounds. So he certainly can win enough of the ball when he's in good form and he's fit and strong, which he's getting week after week. He's going to make the Tigers so much stronger. There's an exciting talent, Matthew Richardson. Donald Dickey has battled hard with that man Lyle across half back around the corner. 4 marks to Port Adelaide in this last term. They've shown plenty of spirit. Chaffee to Gaspar, under pressure. They've got the numbers, the Tigers. Bauer gives it back to Knights. So good on his feet. So cool under pressure. Rockets the ball wide to Campbell. He's had a terrific 150 to Powell, who thumps the ball high. Look out here. Comes Richardson. Balked for his run that time at ground level. Under pressure. Mead just couldn't handle it. Didn't quite have the hands. Chalmers blocked. So a chance for the Tigers due for Port Adelaide under pressure. tackling. Daffy rockets the ball back. Campbell sets it up wide. Richardson caught, back to Campbell. An unusual kick, clever kick, been taken by Brewer. So the loose player will be set up now, Peter. He finds Wanganeen.
I was going to say it was barely the required distance for a mark. Wanganeen kicks it towards centre wing. It's going to be a foot race here. Heaver, he's doing well since he came on. Kicked a couple of goals from only 4 kicks. Here he is again. Make that 6. Making a point to the selectors. Huge pack of players. They came from everywhere. Ball scooped out to Harrison. Harrison at half-back. Tried to get the hand pass away. Andrew Callaway pinching it as Lyle. Brilliantly done. Port haven't thrown in the towel. Bouncing ball out of bounds. Left forward pocket for Port Power in the last minute of play. Certainly been one of their better players. Lyle with 15, Francou 13 and Eagleton 13 and Mead 12. Leading kick getters for Port Power, and Young Harwood 20, Dickey 20 possessions. Rushed through over the line there by Daniels, and one behind. 13-19 to 9-13. Scotty Turner to bring it back. So Richmond will consolidate. Daffy, well, he's had a quiet final quarter, but this is kick number 29, so that pales into insignificance against the stats. Prescott rides an opponent into the ground, and the umpire will come in to ball it up. That's young Evans, I think. No, it's not. It's Stevens. A shock at long here. Harvey puts it down. He's on the stat sheet. He got a kick today. Holland, Knights. There's the siren. Tigers are run-out winners at the MCG. Evans gives the ball back to the umpire, and the final quarter, or the final scores, showing Richmond 13-19, 97, defeating Port Adelaide 9-12, 66 by an even 30 points at the MCG.